I'm YouTubing from the comfort of my room on this chilly snow day to talk about the instep. You are either blessed with it or you spend your whole dance career trying to obtain it. The instep is the hump on the top of your foot between your heel and the ball of your foot. It makes dancers drool if they don't have it. It makes your foot appear to be more pointed. Someone asked me to give them tips on how to increase their instep. I don't know what you're asking me for because I don't have an instep. I have flat feet. But anyway, I can give you some tips to just work with what you have. So there are two parts of the foot that make this shape. You have your arch, which is the curve on the bottom of your foot, and your instep is actually the curve on the top of your foot. They usually do go hand in hand. People with high arches tend to have a high instep. People with flat feet tend to have a low instep. But your arch is something that you can increase just by working really hard and training those muscles. Sometimes you'll see feet exercises promising a high instep, but at the end of the day, your anatomy is your instep, particularly how your tibia meets your talus in your foot. So while you can't change your anatomy, there are some exercises to help you really get that curve in your foot. A good exercise to strengthen your arch and the bottom of your foot is to place like a towel under your toes and start kind of scrunching it towards you. I do want you to work through all the little baby muscles in your toes. So start with flat toes and then almost like you're massaging the towel to pull it towards you. You can also pick up items with your toes, but the trick is when you pick up these items, I want you to continue pointing your whole foot. So don't pick up items by flexing your ankle back and crunching your toes, because then you're kind of working the opposite muscles. The whole point is to pick up the item and keep your whole foot pointed. You're going to feel a cramp in the bottom arch, okay? Don't bring it back and flex your toes. I want you to continue pointing your foot and almost feel like the top of your foot is going up into this triangle shape, like you're trying to fill in the tip of a triangle with the top of your foot. This is going to give you archy foot cramps. You're contracting the bottom of your foot really hard, but this will make your foot strong and you'll be able to point a lot harder. Another exercise I just learned in physical therapy is called doming. It's when you concentrate on almost pulling your big toe back to your heel. It's like you're trying to shorten your foot, but it's a really tiny baby movement. It's actually very frustrating and it took me a long time to get right. A good way to know that you're doing it is if you see this little crease, this little indent in your foot right here. That kind of enforces the connection between the muscle that goes from the heel to your big toe, your arch muscle, the thing that you strengthen to make it look like you're pointing your foot really hard. Then there's the more extreme version of this exercise that I call triangling or peaking. I don't know if there's a real name for it, but again, it's when you kind of shorten your foot, but you imagine that you're pulling the top of your foot to fill in the tip of a triangle or like become the peak of a mountain. So now that we've strengthened the bottom of the foot, let's talk about stretching the top of the foot. I just got a foot stretcher for Christmas. The ballet foot stretcher is a torture device where you confine your foot under this big piece of elastic on a funky shaped piece of wood. It's supposed to help stretch the top of your foot and, eventually make your foot look like it's pointing really hard. I'm still getting used to this. I'm actually very wary of using foot stretchers because too much flexibility can lead to injury, and also when you force your foot to do something it doesn't want to do, you can actually cause something called impingement, which is like a little pinchy feeling right here behind your heel. That's actually just where I had surgery. So I have problematic feet, weak ankles. This is literally my Achilles heel. My problem area is my ankle. So this is something you have to be very careful with. You can stretch, but you can't change the bone structure of your foot. However, there are things to make it look like we do have a high instep. Ta-da! Fake arches, or as I call them, farches. Farches are the unsung hero of the ballet world. It's like a little half a sock with a pillow or a cushion underneath. The pillow or the cushion goes right over your instep, and you can conceal it under your tights so that anytime you're performing and you point your foot, it looks like you have a natural high, beautiful arch and a high, beautiful instep. You can buy farches online through dance magazines or anything like that, and people will be none the wiser. You can achieve the high, beautiful instep without having the anatomy or doing any of the work for it. Okay, no, but seriously, you should always work really hard on your foot strength and your technique in ballet class. At the end of the day, a high arch and a high instep is just an aesthetic thing. It doesn't make you any less of a good ballet dancer if you don't have it. There are plenty of professional ballerinas that don't have perfect feet. Don't torture yourself trying to make something happen that your body naturally cannot do. Just stretch and strengthen and take care of your feet. And massage your feet too after you're tired of doing all that contracting and cramping up your foot. It's always a good idea to keep little roller balls. I have a spiky ball. I also have a lacrosse ball. These are things that I use to roll out the bottom of my foot, just to roll out any muscle cramps you may give yourself when you're trying to point so super hard. It's also a good idea to find little orthotics or cushions to put under your arch in your everyday sneakers if you have flat feet. This will give you support and prevent your arch muscle from sinking. All of this strength and control really starts at the bar at the very beginning of class, even when you're doing your basic tendus. When you do a tendu, you almost got to imagine like you want your foot to be vertical, straight up and down. You've really got to push it that extra couple inches in your whole foot. Same deal in releve. Every time you go up in releve, you got to give that little extra oomph. You almost have to do that triangle feeling I like to talk about. Like you push your instep out farther past your toes. Don't let your instep hang out behind your toes. Push it over your toes, past your toes. Show the difference between a low demi-point and a high demi-point by pushing your heel forward. So, little recap. Pick things up and put them down with your toes, anything. Make it a game. This is going to strengthen your arch muscle and it's going to help you articulate all those little baby muscles in your toes. So soon pointing really hard is just going to feel like second nature to you. Strengthen, stretch, but most importantly, be careful, be gentle, and be patient. Take care of your feet. You only get one pair, so just work with what you have. Happy stretching, take care, don't injure yourself. I do also sometimes take questions on Instagram. You can follow me at the Salty Sugar Plum, no periods, no underscores. My life is pretty boring though, not much to see there, but I do look forward to hearing from you. Bye.